Hi, my name's Anthony. This is my gym behind me called LamLab Fitness Mastery, and I have been a trainer and coach for the last 13 years. I've competed in men's physique, and I've helped hundreds of clients reach their transformational goals as well. So I know a thing or two about losing weight and building muscle and losing fat as well. So I'm gonna share with you some of these tips that makes the difference on how to make reducing your calories a lot easier and simpler. So the first thing you gotta do is you can go to the link below. It's a free TDEE calculator. And what TDEE means is just how much calories you need to eat to lose your goal. So there's a fat loss setting. So if your goal is to lose weight, just hit that fat loss setting. It'll give you some perspective on how much calories you need to eat and how much protein and carbs you need to eat. Okay, so my first tip for you is make sure at every meal you have protein. So if you don't really know what protein is anything like eggs, egg whites, protein shakes, turkey bacon, like meat, and not all protein is made the same. So some protein can be higher in calories and some protein can be lower in calories. So for example, if you like Wagyu A5 steak, you see how there's all those like fat juicy bits? That can increase the calorie intake even though it's high protein. So when you're trying to lose weight, you want to make sure you have lean proteins, which are like the ones I suggested, like chicken breast, white fish, egg whites, etc. These, not only are they going to give you the nutrients you need to keep your muscle and lose more body fat, it's actually going to help you feel more full the whole day so you're less hungry. My next tip is you want to make sure that if you are building a meal, you either want to have fruit or vegetable at every meal. So when it comes to vegetables, literally any leafy greens or anything with color. So you want to think about 2 fist amounts. And if you don't have vegetable, like in breakfast, like who makes a vegetable during breakfast, have something like fruit, have like an apple, banana, something with some nutrients inside to keep you energized throughout the day. The third tip is you want to stay away from any food that comes in a box, because typically foods that come in a box or have a barcode on it, they're going to be higher in calories because there's more preservatives and more processing that requires to keep it fresh. So it's not that the food's actually bad for you, it's just that it's not great, it's not the most satiating for you, and it's typically higher calories. Instead, focus on having foods that you could put in a bag. Obviously, your whole foods like rice, grains, veggies, meats, anything like that you get at like a local market would be a good example of what your diet should be comprised mostly of. And people always say, Anthony, I can't afford that kind of food, that's so expensive, I don't even know how to shop for that food, it's intimidating. Well, use your good friend ChatGPT. Every time I'm in the grocery store, I always, how do I find the best pineapple, or how do I find the best watermelon? You start knocking on it and you kind of develop those skills on how to pick it, and you're not going to be good at it right away, but it's the idea of that practice. The next thing is you can also use your AI or Google to make sure that, hey, are these foods actually higher and lower in calories? So this is going to help you make smart decisions going forward at the grocery store. So one of the trickiest parts about losing weight is we're not stuck in like a box and we're getting like meal delivered to us. Oftentimes we have to navigate work events, social outings, and things like that that might derail us from our calorie allotment. So how do we navigate social settings? Well, this is when your discipline and your commitment is going to come in. So I have a couple tips to make sure that it's easy. So for the starters, if you hadn't eaten anything but you know you're restricted on calories, you gotta look at the menu beforehand to see what fits your calories. Now, if you're on lower calories because maybe you're deeper into your diet and you don't have as much allowance, salads are going to be your best friend with a lean protein source and dressing on the side or no dressing. And I know salads to some people isn't the most appealing thing, but this is a matter of getting to your goal or not getting to your goal. And in order to get to your goal, you need to be able to make the choices. But now, if you don't want to have salad, that's totally fine. You could also eat before you go out and just order an appetizer. Or if you're social and it's like a lot of drinking going on, go with things like diet sodas and just have your cup filled with maybe like Sprite Zero or a Coke Zero. And then if anyone asks you, hey, did you have a drink? You already have a drink in your hand, so people know that you're already drinking, but you're being mindful of your calories. So these are kind of some tricks to avoid that pressure, and sometimes just telling people like, hey, I got to do this thing. And you might find that people actually respect your discipline more. And at the same time, there's going to be a lot of haters, but anytime you're successful in anything, there will be haters. So make sure that you have your goal at top of mind. So the next thing you want to do is you want to make sure you weigh yourself every day. Now, sometimes weighing yourself every day can be a little bit discouraging because you feel like if your weight isn't going down day to day, that you're not making progress. Well, that's completely false. Most and all weight loss journeys is actually a lot of up and down. So you have to instead take all the days and weigh out the average. Now, growing up in a Chinese family, they will tell it to you straight whether you're gaining weight or losing weight. So weighing yourself is kind of like facing the truth to see the change that you want. So make sure that you don't put too much pressure on yourself about it, but understand that you need to see the truth if you want it to change, and remind yourself and build awareness that this is your goal. So the next thing you want to do is tell your family or your friends or whoever you're living with, maybe your partner, that you have this goal, because oftentimes setting up the right environment is going to have the right food for you, and also people will be more empathetic and understanding of your goal. If you don't tell anyone about it, then they might tempt you with stuff. And even if you do tell them, let's say a birthday comes around, they're saying, hey, we're celebrating something, just give it a break. You really got to make sure that you kind of reel it in and tell them like, hey, I have a due date and I want to be ready by this point. And to follow that up, having progress photos is another way to build that confidence in your progress, because sometimes your weight might not change, especially if you start lifting weights. Like if you know Weight Watchers, that famous program in the past, what they used to do and tell people was not to lift weights because they know it would slow their weight loss journey down. But when you're building muscle, this can be offset. So you might have lost 5 pounds of fat, but built 5 pounds of muscle. So if you didn't take a progress photo from the front, side, and back with as little clothes as possible, you won't actually see the changes. So make sure you take those progress photos, because your weight might not change, but all the differences is happening where you're fitting into the clothes that you actually want, which is your main objective. Now, if you're doing all those things and you still find it difficult to reduce your calories, protein is your best friend. Protein oftentimes will automatically, without even trying, lower your calorie intake. And the problem with protein is that people aren't used to making so much meat. They don't have that system yet. So protein powder is the perfect lazy hack getting what you need. So invest in a good protein powder that doesn't make your stomach upset. There's a bunch of good ones that any store can recommend you. Even Costco has it, and it'll actually save you so much money, because instead of buying like a chicken breast for like $3 a pop, Protein Scoop is like $1 a pop or $2 a pop, and you'll be getting it as fast as you can. You can take it anywhere you want. They'll keep your protein elevated every single meal. This is especially good hack for vegetarians or vegans who are not able to make meat, but they want it to complement every single meal, and you'll get your protein goal that way. The last but not least is stay away from alcohol. Alcohol actually reduces your natural ability to burn fat. So when you do that, it'll also, might not help you make the best decisions, obviously, because your inhibition is down. So staying away from alcohol will help you. And anyone who's achieved getting really lean, you will need to stay away from alcohol. And unfortunately, it's a sacrifice you make temporarily to reach a big goal. Now, I'm going to share 2 bonus tips with you. And that first one I learned from my parents. It's having a regular schedule. Like growing up, everything was regular. The time you wake up, the time you go to take a shit, the time you have lunch, the time you have dinner. By organizing your day, it helps you set your priorities straight so that you don't miss what's important. A lot of times when people try to lose weight is they try to cut meals here and there, thinking that by cutting down the meals, they're gonna eat less. But what ends up happening is because they've cut so many meals and snacks, at the end of the day, they say, okay, well, since I didn't eat lunch, I'm gonna eat a big dinner. And that big dinner becomes more than what you would have eaten if you had a regular schedule. So make sure that you're really regimented. It just makes things a lot less stressful, and you don't have to make stuff up because everything's ready and prepared. It actually feels so good, and you'll hear a lot of times when people lose weight is that they feel more focused than ever, because that regimen is required when it comes to fitting these type of priorities into your day. Now, the final bonus tip is going for some walks after you eat. Sometimes people feel a little bit lethargic after they eat, or they feel a little low energy, or even they just feel hungry all the time. But the moment they start doing some activity, that hunger goes away. So going for walks after you eat can be a great way to regulate your blood sugar, keep your energy high, keep your mind off things, and help you burn some more calories to expedite your weight loss process. So I hope these tips were super useful for you. I find these are the most common traits that my clients have used to become successful. And it's kind of like the advice that your mom or your grandma would give you. And there's a reason why that is, because a lot of the greatest problems, the oldest problems like losing weight, the answers are already there. It's not behind the next supplement. It's not behind, the fancy new workout routine. It's just doing the basics and doing it long enough until you see your results. So keep yourself accountable, follow these tricks. If you have any questions about any of the tips I gave you, or maybe you have your own tip that I didn't share, leave that in the comment below. I want to learn more. And if you want to subscribe, hit that like button. I got way more content to help you reach your fitness goals, all for free. So be part of a community that's going to keep you accountable, and I'll see you in the next video.